welcome to CONNECTpreneur. We're glad that you could all make it today. CONNECTpreneur is a global community of over 30,000 investors, CEOs, entrepreneurs, business leaders, and professional service providers from all around the world. 2025 marks our 14th year, and during this time, we've hosted over 100 in-person and virtual CONNECTpreneur forums with over 1,500 presentations from over 900 presenting company alumni, and about 60% of our presenters have received funding from investors that they have met on our platform. We have built an investor community of over 4,000 accredited private investors, angels, and family offices who have attended our events and who are interested in investing in awesome deals that they can meet through our platform. And our community database now exceeds over 320,000 technology business leaders and investors from around North America. Hopefully, you've already had a chance to download today's program book. And in that program book, you'll see info on our sponsors and the executive summaries of all of our presenting companies today, as well as a list of all of the RSVPs from today. If you haven't downloaded it yet, no worries. Our team will post the link in the chat so you can download that program book. A couple of things about today's event. We have 8 awesome presenting companies, and after our final presenter, we'll open up breakout rooms, and those will last for about 30 to 40 minutes or so. Each breakout room is hosted by one of our presenting companies. You'll be able to enter and leave whichever breakout room you'd like. Just remember that these breakout rooms are hosted by presenting companies, so please only join these breakout rooms if you're an investor interested to learn more about the opportunity and set up follow-up meetings with them and learn more about them. This is not a time to be selling services or to do anything else other than ask about investor interest for these companies. Another note is to please be respectful and tactful when using the group chat. Feel free to post your LinkedIn or other contact information or a brief introduction a couple of times. Just if you could please make sure to not overload the chat, we would appreciate that. We would recommend that you download the chat transcript before you go into breakout rooms, that way that you can read through it afterwards. We will be polling our direct investors after each presenter today. These polls are for direct investors only. These are confidential, so we will not be sharing any of the poll results with the audience, but just a note to please make sure to answer these investor polls only if you are a direct investor. We will not have any service providers answering the polls. We will not have anyone else other than direct investors answering these polls. So please, please, please follow those guidelines. Our marketing coordinator, Emily Fanouche, is going to put some links in the chat. These are for our YouTube channel with hundreds of videos of past presenters. We have an upcoming virtual event in May. We have an upcoming in-person event in June. That'll be on the East Coast if you're local. And she'll also post the link to today's program book if you haven't seen that already. Lastly, if you are interested in sponsoring or presenting any of our events, please send me an email and let me know. I'll be sure to put my email in the chat. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we're going to put up our first poll, which is for everyone on the meeting today. This one is not only for direct investors, but this one is for everyone on the meeting. This is for our sponsors. If you are interested in any of the following services, feel free to indicate here. While this is up, I will shout out our awesome sponsors who make this event possible. You can also find them, like I mentioned, in the back of the program book. But we have Next, powered by Shulman Rogers, Modus Create, AEG, Shulman Rogers, Northern Virginia Chamber of Commerce, Maryland Tech Council Venture Mentoring Services, Refraction, Startup Grind, Entrepreneurs Organization, FITSE, Keiretsu Forum, Dingman Center Angels, Citrine Angels, MIT Alumni Angels, New Jersey Angels, Georgetown Entrepreneurship Initiative, Wharton DC Innovation Summit, Founder Institute, Ryan and Wetmore, Enterprise Transformation Solutions, and Monty Jade Science and Technology Association. So I will leave that poll up for just a couple minutes, but with that, I would like to get started. We have a special treat today, just our CEO, Tian Wang. He is going to be introducing our first 4 presenters today. So I will turn the time over to him. I know most of you know him, but we are lucky to have him introducing today. So Tian, I will turn it over to you for the first 4 presenters.
Thanks, Sky. Appreciate it. I want to welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm going to introduce the first 4 presenters. They're all phenomenal. And like Sky said, we're going to post a poll after each presenter right around the 4-minute mark. And this is only for investors. So if you're an investor and you're interested, or you're an investment advisor and you have a actual investor you want to introduce to the company, then you can indicate they're confidential polls, and we will share them with the presenting company only. So the first company I'd like to introduce, and Kelvin, you can share screen, is Amporin Pharmaceuticals, which does acute membrane repair for deadly degenerative diseases. And to tell us more about the company, I'd like to welcome Dr. Kelvin Stott. Hi, Kelvin.
Hello, thank you for the kind introduction. So very happy to be here today. And look, our vision is to cure 6 major degenerative diseases with a simple pill, as easily as curing a headache. So at least 50 deadly degenerative diseases are now associated with protein misfolding and aggregation. And together, these diseases affect over 500 million people at a cost of $3 trillion a year, largely due to the need for full-time care. And with a growing population, there are still no effective disease-modifying treatments that can stop or reverse the progression of disease. So in every single one of these diseases, a specific protein or peptide aggregates, is expressed and misfolds and aggregates to form insoluble fibers. And for many years, the pharma industry has tried to develop treatments to target these insoluble aggregates. But correlation is not causation. And we now know that the toxic species are the soluble oligomeric intermediates you see in the middle here. And for that reason, a number of companies are now targeting the process upstream to develop chronic preventative treatments. The downside of that is that they potentially have safety issues with blocking parts of the process which are natural, and are supposed to happen. We go further and we ask why these why these soluble oligomeric intermediates are toxic. And it turns out in every single case, these oligomers effectively form pores that puncture holes in the membrane, causing a short circuit that leads to uncontrolled calcium influx, aberrant cell signaling, loss of homeostasis, and ultimately leading to oxidative stress, progressive cell death, and degeneration. And so we uniquely target these pores with a new class of small molecule drugs that effectively repair the cell membranes and allow cells to restore homeostasis. This gives us a really unique opportunity to develop acute oral treatments that can actually not only delay progression, but stop and potentially even reverse the progression of these diseases, unlike all our competitors that are developing oral or even non-oral preventative treatments with a chronic dosing. So we've already demonstrated proof of concept in vivo. A single oral dose of our prototype drug candidate was able to completely reverse the neurological deficits in 2 established mouse models. On the left chart, you see reversal of disease in Parkinson's, and on the right in Alzheimer's. And we are developing an entire pipeline of 6 drug candidates, starting with Parkinson's disease and then ALS. For each of these drug candidates, we aim to establish proof of efficacy and safety with small acute trials in as early as phase 1B with biomarkers, and then look to license our drug candidates out to big pharma, one after the other. This will be supported by up to three rounds of VC funding or angel funding initially, with an exit by trade sale to big pharma by 2030 or 2031 at the latest. So our team is just 3 of us at the moment, each of us with over 20 years of pharma experience, bringing drugs through discovery into clinical development. I'm a structural molecular biologist and developed the compounds on which the company is based. Hervé is a preclinical neurologist and has taken drugs into the clinic. And our co-CMO and co-founder, Daniel Umbricht, has developed drugs in the clinic. And finally, so far, we're established this time last year. We've raised $350K to date, and we're looking for 10 to 12 million seed funding to take our first drug candidate into the clinic, exit by 2031. Thanks very much, and please do get in touch, investors. This is a unique opportunity to make a big difference. Thank you.
Awesome. Great job, Calvin. I think we still have a poll up. This is for investors only. So anyone who's interested, very interested in investing, or if you know an investor who's interested, please indicate the poll as such. We'll keep that up for a little bit. And our next presenter, I'm very happy to introduce, is Annika Pharma. They aim to transform the lives of people with ADHD with a novel, best-in-class non-stimulant that's de-risked on efficacy and safety, cost-effective and focused development. Annika's product, aka 1315, has a novel mechanism for ADHD, representing the first significant innovation in the ADHD field since 2001. And I really wish I knew about you guys several years ago. Not for me, but for people I know. Anyway, to talk about Annika, I'd like to introduce CEO Hampus Hillestrom. Hampus, welcome.
Thank you so much, Jen. And I'm excited to share with you today about Annika Pharmaceuticals, the first innovation in about 25 years in the field of ADHD. This is very personal to me because two of my sons have ADHD, and we've seen firsthand how the current treatment have limitations. The ADHD is, as you know, a big unmet medical need, but there's symptoms of attention and hyperactivity, and the current treatments do help. However, the standard of care is unsatisfactory. The patient needs to trade off either mild efficacy with the non-stimulants or major side effects with the stimulants. And even the FDA is asking for alternatives to the stimulants. So patients need a new, better non-stimulant with better efficacy. We have patented and discovered aka 1315, which is a fixed dose combination small molecule drug that works with a different mechanism, the first new mechanism for non-stimulants since 2001. The current drugs, they work by increasing neuromediators such as dopamine at the synapse between the two neurons. And AK1315 works in a different place and with a new mechanism. We have two sets of efficacy data. Here I'll show you the proof of concept study in 20 children with ADHD. We have in the study after treatment shown a 68% reduction in the symptoms. The assessment scale that was used, ADHD RS5, is what FDA is using in order to approve drugs in children with ADHD. And you can see that our efficacy is better than all the non-stimulants that are available today. The market is very large because 11% of children have ADHD, 7% of adults. It's a 24.6 billion market. And we estimate peak sales of aka 1315 at 1.8 billion annually because we see this as the best-in-class non-stimulant for ADHD. As you look at the landscape of ADHD drugs, among the non-stimulants, the only new mechanism is the Annika mechanism. And we have patented AK1315, which is entering phase 1, and it's protected through 2042 with expansions planned. What's really exciting about the drug is that AK1315 is de-risked. We estimate that de-risking to be 6 times higher probability of success compared to early biotech drugs that you might come across. On the safety side, there's 800 million doses that are given out every year of the 2 underlying drugs at the same doses and even taken in combination in children and adults. And efficacy is also more with initial data with 2 studies, 45 children with ADHD that have seen strong data, strong efficacy, and also adults that have been used in clinical practice. We have a seasoned clinical team. We have started 6 companies. We brought 5 drugs to market. We also had 1 exit so far. So we're raising a $4 million Series A round to complete phase 1 clinical trials, followed by a $23 million Series B round to complete phase 2 clinical trials in ADHD. That's a major exit milestone. Neurovance was sold for $1 billion at that time. And if you apply that to our company, would be a 27x. So we're raising that to complete formulation, phase 1 trials, and also a pilot clinical study. So we look forward to meeting you in the breakout room and telling you more about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hampus. Great presentation. All right, our investor poll is up for Annika. We have very interested in investing, would like more info. And the third one is if you know somebody. So this is again for investors only. The next presenter I'd like to introduce is Auravax Therapeutics. They have a product called NanoSting, which is a first-in-class host-directed therapeutic that treats and prevents most respiratory viruses. It activates innate immunity at the site of infection. Great company, very unique solution. And to tell us more about it, I'd like to introduce CEO Joe Sullivan. Hi, Joe.
Thank you, Tian, very much, and thank you for the opportunity to present. My name is Joseph Sullivan. I'm the CEO of Auravax Therapeutic, and I appreciate the opportunity this morning to share with you the development of our core technology, NanoSting. Most people can relate to viral infections either personally or through family experience, and know that viral infections can actually be life-threatening for a subset of folks who are immunocompromised or may have other underlying medical conditions. At Auravax, we're developing products for respiratory infectious diseases. Imagine one product that could prevent multiple different respiratory infections, and that's the underlying value proposition of NanoSting. It's a host-directed therapeutic that activates and boosts the innate immunity, which is your initial response to viral infections. In 5 different animal models with over 8 different viral strains, we've demonstrated that we can safely boost the sting pathway, effectively treat and prevent these different infections, and therefore we believe it will be very broad-acting and agnostic to the different pathogens. With that background in the early clinical development, we're ready for final clinical pre-testing and moving into clinical testing in 2026. A little bit more about the A little bit more about the momentum for the seasonal host-directed therapeutic. We are starting the safety and tox studies as we speak. We're also forming a collaboration with Uniformed Services University to be our clinical collaborator. We're very excited about that relationship. Not only will they bring strong clinical experience, but also the potential for non-dilutive funding. Beyond the seasonal viruses, we're also focusing on emerging threats as well as weaponized viruses, and we have a proposal into the military that's under review. We hope to begin that later this year. We're very excited about this because not only will it allow us to continue to demonstrate the breadth of the efficacy of NanoSting, but we believe it's an opportunity to actually accelerate revenue. Beyond the host-directed therapeutic, we also know that NanoSting can improve the mucosal immunity of intranasal vaccines, and we have a number of opportunities that we're working on in this space. First, we received a BARDA contract last year for the evaluation of an adjuvanted vaccine. We're in preclinical assessment of it right now, and we hope in 2026, with favorable data, to move that into product development. And with that project, we also are working with a clinical stage partner. We also have a second partnership in vaccines that we're in the process of discussions underway right now, and we hope to announce that shortly and to, again, also have potentially a commercial relationship with them in 2026, again, accelerating revenue. It's a very large market that we're focusing on, and we're especially focusing on the high-risk population as well as the military. We're very interested in the dual-use opportunity there. As I mentioned, we're focusing on the therapeutic and looking to partner out the vaccine. Our lead indication will be in influenza. We see that as the fastest opportunity for proof of concept efficacy, but we also, as I mentioned, want to leverage the biothreats so that we can show the potential of the broad acting. And as I mentioned earlier, we are laser focused on the opportunities for accelerating revenue in both the biodefense as well as the adjuvant. We've raised about $5 million to date to stand up the company and do the early clinical development. We're hoping to raise another $4.5 million to complete the preclinical development and move into clinical studies. We also hope to complement that with non-dilutive funding, and we have a number of discussions underway. We have a very strong team, including George Church, who is leading our SAB. We have two outside wonderful directors, John Shiver, as well as Tom Finn, and our board lead is Lawrence Cooper. So just in summary, this would be a first-in-class STING agonist for respiratory viruses, both as a therapeutic and as well as prevention. We believe that the clinical program is well de-risked from the preclinical studies, and so we're moving very quickly into the clinical studies next year. And we also have a biomarker to demonstrate that we're activating the immune pathway. It's a large revenue opportunity, as I mentioned earlier. And as also I mentioned earlier, we're very, very focused on these opportunities for early revenue recognition and strategic exits. So I hope to talk to you all further in the breakout room, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Joe. Great job on the presentation. We have a poll up for Orovax right now. So again, this is for investors only, and it's very interested in investing, want more info. And the third choice is, I know an investor who's interested. I'll make an introduction. And on a side note, and maybe Emily, you can post this. We are hosting a dedicated virtual event for Orovax in a couple of weeks, and Joe can explain more about the company, and he'll be able to introduce his teammates and also go deeper with you guys. That's probably going to be about an hour-long virtual presentation. So keep an eye out for invitations. It's an investor-only meeting, by the way. Great. So the fourth presenter, the next presenter we have is Cove Medical. They're unleashing the potential of in utero surgeries with AmnioSnare, which is their proprietary product. Really exciting technology. And to introduce the company, I'd like to bring on Dr. Yannick Devode. Yannick, welcome.
Thank you very much. So at Cove, we help saving babies before they're even born. So do you see here a problem with John on the video? And I cannot hear you, but you're probably all saying no. And indeed, John doesn't have a problem. But his life should have looked like this, because he was diagnosed with a big malformation during the pregnancy. But thanks to recent advances in surgical methods, it is possible now during pregnancy to do surgeries directly inside the maternal womb with a fetoscopy. And this giving some chance and a good, healthy life to John and a lot of other kids. The problem with those fetoscopies is that they come along with 80% risk of premature birth because of the small hole done by the surgical instruments that punch the amniotic sac. And those holes cannot heal by themselves, and surgeons don't have access to close them. So right now they leave it open and hoping for the best. And premature birth is really bad. It has huge neonatal costs, right? And it is linked to the biggest risk for child death under 5 years old. So the clinical need is really obvious to find a solution for that problem. And we are the first company to create a device for fetal membrane closure that is completely integrated in the current workflow. So we'll not change anything to the surgery as it is right now to treat the malformation. But as a second step, we would come with our device, go through the same entry port and stitch the amniotic sac to the uterus to close it and prevent premature birth. We have a device, it's called AmnioSnare. It's a single-use device, and it is really ready now to mitigate this premature birth. We have tested that on sheep successfully. And it is not just a nice technology that is done by Swiss watch manufacturers, it is also a good business. So as we are basically a consumable to the current fetoscopy, we need to see how many surgeries are done. It's 10,000 per year in the world. We estimate that in 10 years, this will grow 27,000 surgeries per year because it's really trending and you have more and more indications. And if we estimate that 60 or 70% of the surgeons will actually use our device, this leaves us with 20,000 AmnioSnares used worldwide, representing sales of 100 million. And remember, this is just adding a consumable to the fetoscopy. And the big advantage is that there's nothing on the market right now. There is, yes, stitching devices that exist, but they address big defects and they're not specific to tissue. They catch everything that is on the way. And there was some academic research like Choreo Anchor, but they failed and were abandoned. So we are the really only ones solving the big challenge of small holes, and this very specific to tissues. And the other traction that we have is that we work with a community that that nobody really looks at really carefully. We would be the first device that is actually made for them, and they're really innovation ready, and they see our technology as the biggest clinical impact in the recent years. It's 140 centers worldwide, very specific centers. I'm in tight contact with 14 of them, representing 20% of worldwide sales. And I've built strong relationships in this field and friendships, and we'll run the clinical trials in São Paulo and Cincinnati with Fabio Peralta and Jose Pero. And in addition to that, we have really a very strong experienced team together, 95 years of experience in the healthcare and medtech sector. And in this team, 2 people have had really successful exits. And we have also very successful funding history with 2 million grants and 2 million from angel investors. And right now we are raising 2.5 million, from which 700,000 are secured to go through verification validation, first in woman trial, and a submission of documentation for FDA study. So surgeons, they are waiting in the surgery room already, waiting for you to come along. And for that, I will be waiting in the breakout room. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Yannick. We have the investor poll up now for Cove Medical. Just a reminder, these are for direct investors only. If you're not a direct investor, feel free to click that little X in the top left corner, but for direct investors only. Okay, to introduce our final 4 presenters, I'd like to introduce one of our sponsors and partners, Debbie Klein, founder and chief of customer success at BuzzyRocket. Debbie is well known as an expert in creating that certain elusive magic that drives explosive growth at the intersection of companies and customers. So Debbie, I will turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Skylar. It's my pleasure to introduce Aidan Sal. Aidan is an industry-recognized sports tech entrepreneur and marketing innovator who has been recognized by and featured in numerous publications, including Forbes, Adweek, ESPN, Sportico, and others. Mogul is an AI-powered influencer marketing platform transforming the $180 billion space with first-party data and instant matching powered by an AI agentic marketplace. Their software is currently trusted by major NCAA athletic departments and name, image, likeness collectives to manage programs and monitor compliance. Please join me in welcoming Aidan to share more about Mogul.
Thanks, Debbie. Pleasure to meet you all. Mogul is an AI-powered influencer marketing platform, which matches brands to athlete influencers and enables brands to reach their target audience with precision, and leveraging first-party data enables us to optimize for performance. We grew 80% quarter over quarter, following up a 2x year-over-year growth, and are forecasting profitability in Q1 of 2026. So a little bit about the space and the problem that we're tackling. Influencer marketing is exploding as an industry. It's expected to be a $180 billion industry by 2033. And a lot of the growth is driven by privacy policy changes that have limited the impacts by 70% of performance marketing, which is traditionally done on Meta and Google. But the problem with influencer marketing today is that the current time to value really limits its usage. What that means is that it takes brands a long time to find the right influencers, coordinate campaign briefs, align on contracts, manage deliverables and ensure that they're fulfilled. And then ultimately, and most importantly, it's very challenging for them to understand and measure if their influencer campaigns worked. Ultimately, who did I reach? what was the social performance, and what was our overall return on investment. So Mogul is an AI agent that automates this entire process and addresses these problems. We've built an influencer marketing platform with 30,000 athletes in the network today, and our AI agents automate the entire process from campaign brief to influencer sourcing to deliverable fulfillment to tracking and reporting. So what this helps brands to do is drastically reduce the amount of time that it takes for them to find their influencers, manage deliverables, and ultimately reach their target audience. The AI tools that we've built enable us to hyper-target specific audiences with precision based on age, gender, geographic distributions, while also enabling them to optimize for social performance and generate content. The team that we've built here has over 70 years of experience in marketing and ad tech SaaS and marketplace technology. My background is in private equity and investment banking. Most recently at Lexington Partners, we raised a $14.1 billion fund, the largest secondary fund ever raised. Matthew, my chief product and technology officer, has one successful exit and was formerly VP of product at both Eventbrite and Wonolo. Benjamin Briggs, our VP of sales, also has one successful exit while at Influential, which is the largest influencer marketing platform in the world. Pranab Shenoy is a marketplace executive and AI engineer. He built Wonolo's instant match functionality, which matches blue-collar workers with staffing opportunities. And Brandon Wimbush is the former quarterback at the University of Notre Dame and the University of Central Florida, and was just recognized in this year's Forbes 30 Under 30. We're already at 40% of our 2024 revenue, just one quarter into the year, and we grew 80% quarter over quarter. We generated $532,000 in net revenue last year, and we're forecasting $1.5 million in annual recurring revenue run rate this year. We're already ahead of pace, having beat our Q1 forecast by 5%, and we generated $75,000 in net revenue last month. The exciting thing is that we're just scratching the surface of this opportunity. Right now, we're primarily working with college and professional athletes from an influencer network perspective, but there's a massive opportunity here to expand into the broader influencer and creator landscape to eventually become the leading source for influencer data and influencer technology at an enterprise level. We're raising $1 million to expand our AI offerings and ultimately reach profitability in Q1 of 2026. Our lead investor is Aperture Venture Capital, with additional participation from Magarac Venture Partners and Wingback Capital. We've already achieved our Q1 goal of eclipsing $176,000 in net revenue. We achieved $186,000, and this will help us get to profitability in preparation for a Series A. So thank you very much for the time today. I look forward to meeting you all in the breakout rooms, and we'll see you there.
Great. Thank you for the great presentation. It's my pleasure to now introduce Dennis Defensor, CEO of Saltena. Dennis has over 35 years of senior executive experience in government contracts and commercial markets. He's known as an exceptional leader with an energetic blend of entrepreneurial passion and business vision. Saltena is a pioneer in plasmonic communications, a groundbreaking technology that enables high-speed, high bandwidth, and secure wireless communications and sensing in environments previously thought impossible. Underwater, underground, jungles, metals. It's unbelievable when you hear his speech. They have an impressive IP portfolio with multiple patents awarded and many more pending. Please join me in welcoming Dennis to share more about Saltena and their game-changing communication solutions.
Thank you, Debbie. Once in a great while, a company or a person comes along and really changes in a big way the world as we know it. In 1895, Marconi did that by introducing wireless signals through open space. this exploded into global wireless communications. However, Marconi's breakthrough has serious limitations. The Earth's surface is 70% water, and wireless cannot penetrate reliably underwater, underground, dense jungles, metal infrastructures, snow and ice, and other barriers without line of sight. Saltena developed in 2017 what we call surface electromagnetic waves, plasmonics, that transmits through surfaces, not open spaces, but through surfaces. The impact of this new behavior of RF is it pretty much broke all the limitations that were identified in Marconi's technology. So this is the beginning of a new era of communication that can now use open space augmented by surface electromagnetic waves to provide you with a global system of technology undelivered before. We tested this in naval ships, in maritime shipping, military Air Force bases, through tarmac, through hangar shipping containers. We tested it with the Navy SEALs underwater, in the jungles in Hawaii, where we outperformed the standard tactical radio by over 300%. Tested also underground, in tunnels and caves, in Iron Mountain, where it penetrated through a skiff, traveled through limestone, took turns, and did impossible. Tested also in underground garages, in snow and storm, ice, it worked, underwater, freshwater, or saltwater. Our market is vast because wireless touches every global industry and almost every government agencies in the world. So we're taking the approach of using a licensing strategy like Qualcomm to be able to address all these vast markets in as fast a time as we could. Some of our products could involve something as simple as cargo tracking in global shipping and logistics. There are 40 million shipping containers. They're unable to track the cargo inside the container because they cannot penetrate the metal containers, otherwise called the Faraday cage effect. We're building antennas, repeaters, gateways, and we're moving towards testing now towards underwater radar. And this will be used by the Navy, maritime shipping, oil and gas, and across multiple industries that are currently using standard wireless technology. We have a strong team of leaders, of entrepreneurs and retired military officers. Combined, the team has done 3 exits, and we're building as we go forward very rapidly. Our strategy is very simple. We're building a patent moat. Right now we have 4 awarded patents. We have 15 patents pending, and we have about 50 plus more patentable technologies, and we are patenting at the rate of 1 filing a week. We will continue to work with the US government for R&D contracts. For the last 7 months, we won 7 DoD innovative contracts for a total of $7 million plus for Saltena. Our model is to license this technology and products for aviation, shipping, oil and gas, mining, and other global industries. Why Saltena? This is truly a breakthrough technology, and the market covers dual use for government and commercial. We have a team of proven leaders, and we're building a patent moat that is currently occupied mainly by Saltena. With the right funding, Saltena believes we can dominate this wireless market in the next few years. Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis. Fabulous presentation. I'm always excited to hear you speak. In a moment, we are going to hear from Michael Montgomery from, there we go, from CNAI AI. It's my pleasure to introduce Michael Montgomery, CEO of CNAI. He's the founder of European TV studio Red Planet Productions and has been the executive producer of international formats of The Apprentice, Big Brother, Shark Tank, and other shows that I'm sure you've heard of. CNAI was founded by innovators who've leveraged the digital revolution to create a new $500 billion sector, reality TV, and achieve 9-figure exits. Now they see a much bigger opportunity to disrupt television again with the AI revolution. CNAI is an opportunity to partner with the former TV network presidents and Emmy-winning executives behind other shows too, like Survivor, The Apprentice, Dancing with the Stars. Please join me in welcoming Michael as he tells us more about how they're disrupting this $70 billion industry and unlocking 2 vast adjacent markets.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Nice to meet you all. Yeah, okay, so CNAI. Our company aims to revolutionize TV production with AI and automation. Why? In a nutshell, because television production is way too expensive. So what we do is we leverage AI and automation to turn unscripted television from an incredibly wasteful, inefficient process into an agile, automated, scalable workflow. And so far, we've been pretty successful. The proprietary technology we've developed reduces production costs by up to 80%, which is obviously a pretty enormous opportunity in a $70 billion sector. But in the process, we've also unlocked 2 huge adjacent markets, and I'll tell you about those in a second. First, to introduce myself, I'm a TV producer of 30 years experience. Our co-founder, Todd Nelson, he's a bit of a legend in television. He's the founder of one of Hollywood's biggest production studios. He's already had his own exit. But our leadership also includes the presidents of US networks, the executives behind the biggest shows you've heard of, like The Apprentice, Survivor, Big Brother. So we really have TV covered, but also our CTO is one of the best AI engineers in town, in my opinion. So we have a really great team. To introduce the tech to you real quick, I should be clear about one thing. CNAI is not a production company, and I want to stress that we are a production technology company because we offer our tech as a container to other people's productions. And that's kind of perfect because it's a scalable model and it means we don't do all the hard work. We've created 3 technologies where each technology targets the most expensive aspects of production. So I'll take them in turn. First, we've developed a very disruptive mobile casting strategy. What we do is we can build communities in any vertical using what we call hybrid casting apps. What that means is that for our users, the apps are like a social networking experience where they can meet and chat. But for us, it's a casting platform. So we wait for amazing stories and talent to appear. Quite often, they're quite significant influencers, and then we recruit them to participate in our TV shows. So these apps already built and deployed. The KPIs were amazing. Happy to tell you more about that later. For production, we've innovated these mobile collaborative robotic cameras. We've got a utility patent granted on those. They're totally safe. They're remote controlled. They're autonomous. They're very discreet, so they can stow under a table or in the corner of a venue until you need it. And that's very important because it means you don't have to close the venue down and you don't have to send an entire film crew to location. So a $50,000 shoot suddenly becomes a $1,500 shoot, which is obviously a good saving. In post-production, this is the technology I'm most excited about. We've got this unique AI-driven editing technology. So imagine you come back from your shoot, you've got hours and hours of video. We use existing machine learning models to analyze, to log, and even edit that video into stories. And it can do a week of human editing work in less than 5 minutes. So given that editing is by far the heaviest lift in television, it reduces the cost of an edit by about 70%. One thing we knew is that this would be uniquely relevant to the television sector. We perhaps didn't know, and what's gotten us excited is that we've also created 2 completely new categories of buyer. One is digital platforms like Roku and Tubi, who need access to original TV, but were always priced out of the market. The other is major brands who are looking for smarter ways to build relationships with their customers through content. And we have a number of enterprise conversations, great traction in multiple verticals. You can see them there, and I'd be happy to talk more about what those conversations look like in our breakout room. No time to talk about the financials particularly, but I will say one thing. We have a pretty unique two-step revenue model, and it's unique because we get our core revenues up front, which hugely de-risks our operation. But then because we are fully vertically integrated, unlike a production company, we get all of these additional exponential revenues, app subscriptions, ad revenues, e-commerce, and it's all free money. And that's why this model delivers 85% gross margins. And anyone that understands that number will know that's the story of this company. So yeah, that's it. Right now we're at pre-revenue. We're about 3 months away from a completed tech stack, proven team, proven tech, huge market opportunity. We're raising $5 million, $1.5 million against the safe, against the $3.5 million later. And by the way, I think would be the funnest project you'd ever partner with. That's just my little side note to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Michael. Great presentation. It certainly would agree. It looks like a fun one to be part of. Hey, it's now my pleasure to introduce Michael Logan, CEO of TESS Energy Solutions. Michael has 30 years of experience assisting small businesses, including breakout tech companies, with a principal focus on energy efficiency and storage and facility energy management. TESS captures unused thermal energy or heat and transforms it into usable energy, reducing overall power consumption by 20 to 40%. By turning waste into value, the company is not just helping businesses save on costs, but making it easier for them to meet their environmental commitments. Please welcome Michael, who will tell us more about how TESS's solution optimizes operations for better sustainability and efficiency.
Thank you, Debbie. I think you almost covered my whole thing. So let me introduce you to TESS, Thermal Energy Salvage and Storage. This is about the bottom line for businesses, but it's also about the planet. So what's the problem? Well, going back to 2022, we spent about $10 trillion on energy, and we successfully, globally, wasted over $5 trillion of that as thermal. That's wasted profits, and it's accelerated environmental damage. So what do? Well, we just kind of copy nature. Nature uses a phase change material, ice to water to vapor, and back again. The TESS is synthetic phase change material, solid ice to liquid, and liquid to vapor. We're able to set that anywhere from -40 to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. So what we're going to do is restore profits to the client, to the business, and at the same time, restore the planet. What we do is restore thermal energy. Think ice, even in a hockey rink, we catch the cold. We have $50 million worth of Canadian installations. About 12 million of that was reinvested to bring us to our Generation 5. We pay for ourselves in 1.5 to 4 years. And really neat thing is we will last for decades. In fact, put it in for demand management 40 years from now, it'll still be 85% as effective as when you install it. And if you use it with solar thermal, in less than half a football field, we can do 14 to 20 megawatt hours per 24-hour day. And when you're looking at the market, that means in 2030, 52 billion thermal energy, the 240 billion electrical storage energy. We can compete and provide service in both of those markets. So we have opportunity and traction. We developed an app that allows us to do 1,000 of these facility analyses per month. So show me the money. I can't do it as good as him. All right. So we just closed a $5 million sale. It's our first one global in our global launch. We've got another 20 to 30 closing in May, and we have about 250 million in projects in the pipeline. This is coming from the Association of Energy Engineers, who are giving us 2,000 of their offices with each 4 clients. And this is who we are. The inventor, who happens to be a United Nations consultant on climate. Myself, I was a vice president of the Renewable Energy Institute. We have an Emmy award-winning producer as our CMO, and just a great brain team, 3 exits among us. This is where we're anticipating we'll be this year. Our commission off of 1.079 billion in sales, which is only 1,000 units, is 268 million. We'll hit that this year because of the AEE in our app. And where we're at right now, we've raised about 1.8, which is what we used to build the app. About 12 million of what was in Canada was invested to bring us generation 5. We're looking for a $500,000 final bridge to this cash flow. That's 2.5% of our LLC. And we're pivoting to a C Corp with the help of someone who's on the line today. And that's in May, and we'll be doing our Reg D offering. And I want to thank you for your time. I am looking forward to talking to you in the breakout room. This is a $5 trillion a year gold mine. And right now, and for the next 5 years, we're the only mining equipment in town. And speaking of 5 years, what we're looking at doing is getting this in licensed assembly plants around the world and doing an M&A exit about 5 years out. Thank you for your time. I'm looking forward to speaking to you in the breakout room.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Michael. We have our final investor poll up. Please feel free to take a moment if you are a direct investor to answer that poll. In just a minute, we are going to be opening up breakout rooms. Just a reminder that these breakout rooms will be hosted by each of our 8 presenting companies, and they should be used for investors to get to ask questions to the presenting companies. And it's not a time for selling services or anything like that. So once we open these breakout rooms in just a second, I'll have Tien open them. But first, I'm going to put up our final sponsor poll. So this sponsor poll is for everyone on the meeting. If you had already answered it in the beginning of the meeting, no need to answer it again. This is just if you joined late and you're interested in any of the following services from our sponsors, feel free to indicate below on the investor poll. But while we do that, Tien, if you wouldn't mind opening up the breakout rooms and we can get started. If you have any the breakout rooms will be about 30 minutes or so. If you have any trouble getting into a breakout room, please just put in the chat what breakout room you would like to join and I can help you get in. But right at this time, you should see a breakout room button at the bottom of your Zoom screen where you have audio, video, share screen, all those buttons. There should be another one that popped up that said breakout room. So feel free to click that and join whichever breakout room you would like. And like I said, please, if you have any trouble getting into a breakout room, if you're an investor and would like to join, just either send me a private chat or just put it in the chat and I can help directly move you to that breakout room that you'd like to be in. So with that, thank you everyone for joining, and we hope to see you at our next upcoming events in May and June.